some questions to ask, obviously. But getting the answers, you won't get all the answers. I know a guy, a couple who's trying to sell a cleaning business. They started up a couple years ago, and they built up a little cash flow, maybe what, 50 or 60 grand a year. And they decided they were going to try to sell it, and they hired a broker to sell it for them. And of course, there's no bite to it. But it's a list of clients. You know, how much was somebody going to pay for a list of clients, and then maybe not get the business to start with. If they don't like you, the new owner, you know, anyway. Skeletons, always skeletons, you know. If you're good at finding those, fine. Not everybody's got that skill. Okay, franchise, biggest one. Not always your own boss. You want to be your own boss? Well, franchise you wouldn't be. I mean, really. You get to do some bossy stuff, hiring and firing and losing money. How about that? You can do that. But they will train you, and they got a system, and it's turnkey operation, you know, boom, boom. And if you're in discipline, and you got the discipline, and you're into the product and all that, maybe you can make it work. They used to say new McDonald's will do $1 million a year no matter what. No matter what. When they give you a franchise and they put that building up there, it's $1 million, and maybe it's more now. That was a long time ago. Anybody heard any new numbers on that kind of thing? But I'm going to tell you a little story about, you know the McDonald's brothers, you know the McDonald's story, right? McDonald's brothers knew how to make hamburgers. They did a great job with hamburgers. But they didn't know how to take their business to the next level. And a guy named Ray Kroc came along and franchised it. And that's when McDonald's, you know, went international. So the story there is the guys that had the original idea didn't have a big enough vision. And it took a guy like Ray Kroc or an inner circle person or mentor to get them, to get their operation anyway out the yeah.
The average McDonald's now does about a little over $2 million a year.
$2 million, okay. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Franchise retrieval. You can go look for this stuff. Entrepreneur.com, franchise, slant franchise. You can find a bunch of them. That's just one example. Okay, here's some more numbers that hold true over time. Success rate. Let me use the positive. Success rate. Or if you look at the negative, it's a failure rate. Whichever. But it's survival. It's declining slope. Okay, if you make it out here, and you're still doing well, you're probably still growing. But if you get out there and you're stalled, you need to grow some more. Right? Okay. The one they don't have on here is planning. But I'll tell you, the old one, the one I use in prison does, and I hammer that one. The plan's the problem. The rest of these don't matter because they're part of the plan, which is what this is. But right here, these management functions, if you've never seen it, never studied it, the basic textbook is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Those are your new skill set that you need. And they're all disciplines within themselves. There's huge amounts of information on planning, from simple what we're going to do tomorrow to PERT charts and Gantt charts and stuff, computerized and you know, and all the way down the line.
Yeah.
Control is quality assurance. When in your operation, when you set up your workflow, you install in it points where checks are made that tell you how things are going. And you do as few as you can and as soon as you can in the process. That's what's called total quality. A guy named Deming came up with this total quality thing. He said, instead of standing at the end of the assembly line and waiting for stuff to fall off and then checking it, go up the line and see how it's doing. So the bad stuff doesn't get to the end. Get it before, fix it before it gets to the end, and you know, a whole bunch of bad stuff. Get a little bit back further up the line until by the time you get to the end of the line, you don't need anybody standing there checking it. How's that? Make sense? So that's control, the control function. And the biggest one that people mess up is the money. Right? Wherever's money, you got to watch it. If you don't watch it, Nobody else is doing it, right? Unless you're paying somebody to watch it, even then they'll steal it from you. So watch your money. The biggest one is money. Directing. By the way, how many of you know people who give good direction, good orders? You know people do that? Good. Anybody else? One? Two, three? Okay. A few of you. It must be hard to give good direction, huh? You think? It kind of looks like it. I happen to know it's true. I've met very few people who could give good orders, good direction. Clear, concise, this is what I want you to do. Think about writing as much of it as you can. And that's going to take some time if you do it right. You write your policies, which are direction, work hours, benefits, all that stuff. Policy on how you get fired, that kind of stuff. We get the policy. Any policy you want to try to get in writing. Now, there are people argue with that because if you have in writing, I was just looking at Florida. Florida's a right to work state and at will employment unless you have policy manuals. Now, if you make a policy manual, you've got to follow it. All right? If you make it and share it with your employees, you've got to follow it. But that's good practice. It's only fair you tell people what you want from them. And it's best to do it in writing. And say, do you understand this? And they say, yes. And sign it, maybe even date it. Remember, you signed this, you said you understood this. Why are we having trouble now? A year later, 2 years later, right? Just some thought on it.
What was the S?
Huh?
What was the S?
Staffing. Oh, okay. How many have ever hired anybody? Okay. Did you do a good job? All right. No, you did? You did?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe it.
They were still there when I left.
It's hard to hire people the right way. The right people. The right way. Right anything. When it comes to hiring, right? I'll do a quick recommendation. What I recommend you do is take one psychology course, basic psychology course, and write a paper on interviewing during that course for your term paper. If you don't do any other at college, do that. There's one other one I'll recommend, and that's business law, the basic course. Understand what a contract is, what a tort is, and what can be done to you by somebody running around saying they're going to sue you, and you go ha ha ha, and you feel like you don't know what you're talking about because you didn't take business law. Okay? You don't need a lawyer as often. As long as you keep it simple, you don't need a lawyer. All right? You can take care of your own in-pro say, in-pro per. You can represent yourself most of the time. Okay, cash. We talked about money in, money out. Obviously, the bottom one's got to be real slow. The top one's got to be as fast as you can make it. Right? Examples. Everybody has a pretty good list of what you think your expenses are going to be, right? If I recommend, though, you take that list to somebody with experience and let them look at it. All right. When you do your cash flow projections, let somebody look at it that does, that doesn't have any interest in making you happy. Will make you smarter, not happy. Maybe happiness and smart go together. Who knows? But anyway, whenever you do your cash flow projections, let somebody else look at it that's used to doing that. SCORE mentor, one of your inner circle, somebody. Your accountant, if you got, if you have relations with an accountant, either paid or unpaid, use them. They know. Accountants help people with business most of the time. Good accountants, that's what they do. They help businesses. They don't do tax returns. I mean, they hire youngsters to do that, and they got machines that do it. The computers do it for them.